So welcome everyone. I am Lisa Doyle. I'm a longtime real estate agent here in the East Bay, and I have such a great fortune or the great opportunity to introduce you guys to someone. So our East Bay is like, Danville, San Ramon, the 680 Walnut Creek. And so many of our clients move across, out of the Bay Area into the El Dorado Hills, Lincoln area. So I wanted to introduce you guys to a good friend of mine. This is Yolanda Ramirez. And she's a longtime real estate agent here with Powell Real Estate in El Dorado Hills. So thanks for joining me, Yolanda.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun. Thank you.
So much fun. So one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce you to our clients is you've helped a lot of families already that we've worked with, which has been wonderful, helping them navigate from the Bay Area to the El Dorado Hills. And so many people have questions about your area. They're contemplating maybe a retirement. They're looking at different places across California and even out of state of where they might want to move. And because your area is such a wonderful, there's a lot of opportunities there for families that want to downsize, retire. I wanted to have you come share. So yeah, so jump in a little bit, maybe tell them a little bit about yourself. I know you came from the Bay Area, which is a big plus.
Yes, I lived in Aptos for a number of years, about 8 years. And then my husband, he worked for Dignity Health that brought us out to Sacramento. And it's been a really great transition, and it's been a huge benefit for me to be familiar with the Bay Area and be able to help people as they're transitioning and kind of what they're looking for. A lot of things that I was looking for. So I've been able, having a real estate career, been able to really get to know the area well and what features a benefit or what features are attractive to, depending on their lifestyle, whether they like to bike or run or they like the arts. Like there is a little bit of everything for transition. Yeah.
I love that. And one of the benefits of your area, we'll jump right in so you can share, just a lot of features, and I know you're going to talk about pricing and real estate and all that's so important for people. But one of the things I've loved about families as we encourage them to contemplate your area, right? We have a handful of families right now that are trying to decide between different areas. But one of the things that people always bring up when they're thinking about retiring and maybe downsizing is they don't want to move too far away from the grandkids or their families, right? So if they have family in the Bay Area, your area is such a perfect alternative to like moving out of state because, you get benefits of lower cost housing and retirement friendly single level neighborhoods and things, but you don't have to go far away. So I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there's a lot to choose from because Sacramento metro area is a big area. So there's variety. And I agree with you. I think rather than making that out of state transition, this is definitely something to explore.
Exactly. So yes, let's jump right in. You can share a little bit about the area and
yeah, well, I wanted to start out a little bit about just Sacramento. A lot of people, when they talk about Sacramento, they're kind of trying to figure out what exactly encompasses that area. But because we have three different counties, we have Placer County, Sacramento County, El Dorado County. And Placer County will include like Roseville and Lincoln and all the way up to Truckee, actually, Granite Bay, Loomis, Newcastle, Penryn. Then we have Sacramento County, which is Folsom, and El Dorado County. And El Dorado Hills is in El Dorado County, but we won't go into too much about that, but there's PG&E, SMUD, and Roseville Electric, which services these areas. So lately, we have been talking when we're doing our house hunting, we are talking about the areas because there's, PG&E has certainly some high fees for us to consider.
yes.
So we do get into that conversation. We also talk about just insurance and, so there is a lot to cover right now. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about our area, and then we can drill down in some of those questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I know your area encompasses a pretty broad. We're going to focus a little bit more on the area that most people ask me about, which is El Dorado Hills and Lincoln.
Correct.
But of course, if they have any questions about any of your counties surrounding you, they're so welcome to reach out,
Yeah, definitely. So just to give you a quick overview about as you mentioned in the beginning, what attracts people to Sacramento, and that's because of our location, our proximity to so many of the areas they're already familiar with. So the Bay Area, of course, all over. But we've got Truckee. I love to share with people that for my family, if we want to ski Sugar Bowl in particular, we're there in an hour and 10 minutes. And that gets us so exciting, especially if it's during the week and we can manage something quick like that. It's been such a wonderful experience, but you can really access the Tahoe area if you're on the 80 or in the 50 within an hour and a half. And again, if you're in El Dorado Hills, you're more likely to take advantage of South Lake Tahoe. If you're on the 80, then you're probably headed up to Truckee. Reno is about 2 hours, Napa an hour and a half, and Yosemite is maybe about 3 hours. So it just kind of gives you some general distance to some major attractions, things that you may already be enjoying now. Sacramento also offers sports. You guys know about the Kings, but we have Folsom Lake, which has activities. We have other state parks and trails, American River. They have something like the Twilight Dinner Cruise, historical sites, museums, cultural wine festivals. There's so much going on in Sacramento and the surrounding community. We have things like Apple Hill. I didn't mention it in here, but it's very popular during the fall. So not only do you have the wine tours, you have art festivals and cultural events throughout the county, but you also have just nature in general. So if you're interested, you're a hiker, there's so much to hike from Auburn and of course Tahoe, but off the 50, off the 80, there's a lot to do outdoors.
Yeah, nice.
So Lincoln in particular, there are golf courses. There's 2 public golf courses and there's a private golf course. There's also the Lincoln Potters, which is part of the Pacific Empire League. There's a ton of pickleball courts in not only Lincoln, but the surrounding area. There's some sports centers that have renovated these entire centers for pickleball, which is even my 19-year-old son has picked up pickleball. And I said, I think it's time that I jump in.
No, I agree with you. I think that it's so funny that you say that because it seems as though, like in our area, half of the tennis courts that are near the gym that I work out, they've converted almost all of it to pickleball. It's like, I love that because a lot of people from the Bay Area are hikers, cyclists, golfers. And
Nice.
now, of course, pickleball has become such a big enjoyment for people. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, in the variety, they're just being able to do different things. It's fun. And I do love that it's accessible to so many people. But in addition to that, and specifically again talking about Lincoln, there's an art league in Lincoln that has events and art walks, that kind of thing. There's concert summer series. There's a whole placer wine tour. You can see a map. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but just kind of gives you an overview. There's a lot of wineries here. So if you want to spend a day doing that, you can. The Toyota Amphitheater, they do concerts out there. So that's really nice. And then there's 2 casinos, Hard Rock and Thunder Valley as well. So in terms of activities, plenty to do in Lincoln. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the services. So there's the proximity of Lincoln to Roseville lends itself to easily take advantage of the shopping there. Like there's a Galleria Mall, which is huge. There's local shops in Lincoln as well. In terms of medical facilities, Kaiser, Sutter, Lincoln. And again, some people who are living in Lincoln are, easily driving into Roseville for any kind of medical need that they may have. Transportation, there's some partnerships with the county. There's a Dial-A-Ride. The Amtrak station is in Roseville. And also some fitness centers. We'll talk about 55 plus communities that have huge clubhouses, social experience, in addition to that fitness, like an indoor walking track, for example. So there's stuff going on in the communities, but also the city of Lincoln and Roseville have a lot to offer. A huge project that's coming. I think there's only one other one in the States. It's a big climbing gym. That's really exciting. And I know that maybe our 55 plus community may not want to be climbing, but they certainly do have grandkids and family that are going to be joining and visiting. And it's really nice to know what kind of things there are to do in our area.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
most people, I mean, the Bay Area is known for a lot of outdoor fun. So people, even as they get into their retirement years, most of us still want to get out there and have outdoor fun. So I love that.
Yeah, one of the things when we moved out here, my kids, husband picked up mountain biking, and it's from just had such a great experience in Santa Cruz. When we got here, we were so surprised that there are so many mountain bike clubs that compete, and at the high school, at the junior high level. So it was really fantastic to have that continue that experience. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, in terms of specific, there's a new community happening in Lincoln. It's at Turkey Creek. It's a gated 55 plus community. And they're going to be building, it's really in the process. They don't have that clubhouse just yet, but it's expected to come in the near future, about 850 single family homes being built by Taylor Morrison. And there's so much going on that I just kind of did some bullet points. They've got pools and card rooms, tennis courts, multi-purpose rooms. Again, they're going to have a social scene. So they do have classes and game nights that they're going to be hosting, but it's a little bit of a smaller community. The biggest community out in Lincoln is Sun City. I
Yeah,
think that's my,
hear people talk about Sun City a lot. That's
yeah.
popular.
You'll see the difference if we can go off into my next slide here.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's about
Wow.
over 6,000, I mean, really nearly 7,000 homes. So, and it was built from 99 to 2008. So it's made up of different collections, but just on the scale, it's huge. It is really, really big, and there's a lot going on. I'll talk a little bit about pricing. So there's something for everybody. The beautiful thing about that area is that it has a lot of mature landscaping, the topography, there's elevation changes, which really lends itself to some great views and just some interesting experience trails. Um, and you can enter this community. Some price points are as comfortable as 500. Obviously, they also have some more luxury experience. So a house right now on the market, I think is at 1.5, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's single story, has a pool, has a view. So and there's everything in between. With that kind of size community, there's something for everybody. There's two clubhouses. Um, so it's a community that oftentimes when people are coming to Lincoln are really attracted to how established. They don't really have to wait for it to be created. It's already there and it's in full motion.
Well, and built 99 to 2008, that's still fairly new. You know,
Yeah, it is fairly new. And what's beautiful, and it's something I talk a lot about with my clients. I work with maybe over 75% of people transitioning from the Bay Area to something it's really, you're always attracted to the trees because you're kind of used to that, right? So when you visit Sun City and compare to some of the new communities, you might see the difference. You might feel like, wow, this already kind of looks more like what I'm used to. So on that, there are some great benefits to something that's new and something that's fresh, and some people are attracted to that. But I think that a bigger community and a more mature community, although being older, can be attractive for some people that are transitioning
for sure.
Lincoln. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always tell buyers when they're looking at the new construction, which they oftentimes like to, right? They want to go check out new homes. I always ask, hey, I recommend check out some resale because you just don't know what you don't know until you get a chance to visit the communities and the pluses. And so I think
Yeah.
it's good for people to look at both.
Yeah, and it's already thriving. So you can see instead of again what's coming, but you already know what classes are being held, what the attendance is like. So it's full of life really because it offers so much and it's huge. It's really big.
Nice.
The other community that's happening, it's also very, very new. They're just really starting out. That's Trilogy,
Mhm.
Bigfoot Ranch. And it's a master plan community that's going to have about 2,000 residents, but within that community, they will have a 55 plus. So that's sort of more of a mixed type of community. Again, they're just breaking ground on that, and it's very close to Rockland. So it's a great location, and that's on the horizon.
Well, and Trilogy has a beautiful, when people talk about retirement communities, we don't have a lot in our East Bay, but we
Okay.
do have Trilogy out in Brentwood, which is very popular. It's a newer area out there too.
Yeah.
A new Trilogy out your way gives people options. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, and there'll be something for you to explore, and especially if you've got families moving out together, so you've got grandma and grandpa, but also the kids are looking into this area. That is just perfectly positioned to be able to take advantage of the Rockland community as well as Lincoln. So it might be an option that's a perfect fit.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I think I'm now past trilogy and onto market updates. So this is really, I know it's going to be hard to see for anyone that's watching right now, but what I did is I pulled what's for sale that's, in the 55 plus community, and we've got about 34 homes that are available. And if you look at the price range, it is all the way from just under 500 to 1.5.
Okay.
So average, you're looking at about a $700,000, and square footage could be about 2,000 square feet. The HOA in Sun City is only about 162. And it doesn't matter if you're buying 500 or if you bought the 1.5, you're going to have access to those clubhouses. And again, there's two. And they don't have any Melloroos, which is fantastic.
Now that's wonderful because many times, people in our area, average houses, if someone owns a sizable home here and they want to downsize, and we work the whole East Bay, but kind of the middle 680 corridor, which is like Walnut Creek, Danville, Alamo, Pleasanton, out to Livermore, and that whole area. The average pricing for someone who has a sizable home, they might own a home that's 2.5 or give or take. And
Mhm.
they often want to downsize into your area. Like we have one family right now, you're helping them, which is so nice.
Yeah,
They're selling,
I just thought of them.
yeah, they're selling at 2.6 million and they're buying what, a 1.1, right? Which is
Yeah,
beautiful
single
one story.
story.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect solution to a retiree plan, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And another I find that a lot of the like last weekend I was hosting one of my listings is a single story 2,000 square feet in El Dorado Hills, and it wasn't a 55 plus community, but the profile of the house really attracted people who are trying to downsize. It was a semi-custom home, and it was only 2,000 square feet. So it was, all weekend long I got different couples coming, and we had great conversations about the communities out in Lincoln, El Dorado Hills, but this was unique because this wasn't a 55 plus. And something I think is really important to note is when you're looking at the 55 plus communities, it's fantastic because it's part of there's a social experience to that. But for some of the couples who have, and especially the clients that I'm helping right now that are our mutual clients, they have adult children that are just, in their 20s.
Yeah.
And they wanted to leave themselves open to be able to help out, as they're transitioning, maybe looking for that first time job and be able to have them. Well, some of these 55 plus communities have rules around how long a guest can stay. So for them, it was really important to take that into consideration. And some people who are ready to move out here may have that situation. And that, I like to explore and help people understand, what is it that you're looking for, not just, let's not just get enamored with sort of the clubhouse and the activities, but tell me about your whole life. Tell me what you like to do. Tell me about your family. And for them, it was a great match. So we found something in Folsom, but I think that's important for people to think about.
100%. Now that semi-custom one story, the 2,000 square foot last week what was the price of that? What's the asking price?
850.
See that? Oh my gosh, that is such a sweet spot. Whenever I talk to families that are moving from our area or they're looking at other parts of the country, a lot of people move to like, Nevada and Arizona
Yeah.
and, Tennessee and Colorado and Idaho. Like those are a lot of popular destinations. Their typical aim is a million or less if they can, right?
Right.
So it's
Hmm.
a sweet spot for that. They can go there and potentially pay cash for a home and retire and,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. So, okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
So now jumping into El Dorado Hills also very much like Lincoln offers so much. There is a private country club in El Dorado. Is called the Serrano Country Club. It is private. They do have some social and some sports memberships. So some people who don't have access to a clubhouse might consider a social or a sports membership. Then there's also a public course that's in Folsom. It's really very approachable. It's an easy drive. So anyone looking for that experience. Same thing as you have in Lincoln, there's access to the local and state parks. There's a arts and culture center, El Dorado Hills festivals, summer events, and anyone who's visited, there's a town center. It might be on my next slide. There's a town center, yeah, El Dorado Town Center. There's a lot going on there because they've really made it like an indoor outdoor space. So you have restaurants, you have music events, you have summer concert series, really just find a parking spot, bring your chair, and there's some shopping too. So it's something a little different than Lincoln because they're offering a town experience. And in Lincoln, you would probably get that just from being in your community because that's how big it is if we're talking about Sun City specifically. There's
Okay.
some huge medical projects happening in the Folsom El Dorado area, specifically proper Folsom, but again, El Dorado and Folsom share a border. So it's like um, not very much of a stretch, maybe a couple exits to access some of these services. UC Davis is building a huge new facility. It's going to be stretched into like 7 phases.
Wow.
And you also have Kaiser building out a new state-of-the-art facility that's going to have medical offices and surgery center. So there's just still a lot of growth happening in the El Dorado and Folsom area. In terms of fitness and activities, your communities are going to have that. Heritage, we're going to talk about Heritage and Folsom, sorry, Four Seasons. They will have activities, but there's also sports club. And so if you wanted to kind of go outside of your community, then you're going to have some options that are easy to get to.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in my area, in our area, Greater East Bay, they do ask a lot about like Kaiser. Is there a Kaiser there? So I'm so glad you shared that they're building a facility there
Yeah,
because a lot of people are insured by Kaiser here. I know we are, and a lot of people that I know,
yeah.
clients. So that's great.
Well, we are a Kaiser family now. We started out as Dignity Health, but my husband works for Kaiser now. So it's, just loving those projects.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, Okay, so Four Seasons. Four Seasons was built in 2004 to 2009. So again, what you'll see the difference between that community and the newer communities that's going to have more mature landscaping. So a lot of times when I'm taking people they'll notice that right away. And, obviously when you've had 20 years to grow your trees, it's just going to be a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
Um, so they offer, outdoor space, trails and tennis courts and bocce ball courts. So it's a full active community.
Mhm.
And those will go into pricing in my slide after we talk a little bit about heritage.
Okay.
But it's, HOA, let me pull that up really quick. This community has pretty low HOA and no Melrose. HOA is 280.
Okay.
And Melrose, there isn't any Melrose, so that would be a benefit if somebody was trying to um, keep their budget down. I would say that this is definitely something to look at.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know
Yeah.
most of the area, the communities in our area are oftentimes in the midst of an HOA where there might be a swimming pool and extra, like, there are extra activities where they're used to paying anywhere from 150 to 400 for
Oh, wow. Yeah.
it is pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to come in. We can spend a lot of time looking at each clubhouse, and they have online. I'm happy to send anyone some links to it, but really nice facilities and fitness, like within their whole clubhouse, they'll have a fitness center. So you really don't need to leave, but if you choose to, then you can. They're very, very nice, and people who have who are choosing these communities are wanting to participate and be active. And so they'll have dinner, like a crab night dinner event, and they have a newsletter. So you really get to stay involved.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Okay, so our next community, Heritage, it's a little bit of a newer community. It's about 1,000 square feet. They have various collections, so something as small as 1,200 all the way to 3,000 square feet. And there are two clubhouses here as well. The one that I pictured is their bigger one, if you will. And they also have pickleball courts and tennis courts, indoor swimming, outdoor swimming. They have a spa, pickleball courts, you name it. Things that, their members want to be a part of.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we can talk a bit little, I wanted to include Regency. Yeah, it is that next slide.
Okay.
Because they're so close. I mean, the drive, if I was at Heritage, Lennar, and I'm driving over to Regency, I don't know, 10 minutes, it's really super, super close, but it is Folsom. And they are under construction at the moment. It's at Folsom Ranch. They're also going to have about 1,000, just under 1,000 units. So
Mhm.
there's something there if they have a different product. So they're not going to be all single family homes. They're going to have some sort of like condo
Yeah.
options, some attached homes and some single.
Yeah, a
So
little bit more of an affordable, like different choices.
yes, different choices. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay. And in terms of pricing and inventory, this is for just the El Dorado market. And this is a combination of both the Four Seasons, but also Heritage.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, it can range from 600,000 for a 1,200 square foot house all the way to something that's, almost 3,000 square feet, 0.2 acre size. So you got some space around you. That one I've been to, and they've got a lot of renovations. They have really nice landscape backyard, and that's about 1,000,001.
Yeah, perfect. Yep,
Yeah.
that is the sweet spot for most of our the average family moving from here to there to retire. That's been the consistent sweet spot for sure.
Yeah, and the Melrose is quite reasonable in the heritage community. It's about 165 per month.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it's a beautiful community and the views are great. Amazing sunsets there.
Nice.
Yeah. So that kind of covers our, oh, I did also include Regency that to give you an idea of what the pricing is there.
Okay.
So again, you're looking at some entry about 520 and it can take you up all the way to about 1,000,001. And that is for a bigger home,
Yeah.
almost 2,500 square feet.
Perfect. Well, and what I would tell everyone, Yolanda, and I so appreciate the amount of care and service that you've given our clients. You've got several families of mine that have moved into your area, and you've always given them such great care. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate that.
Well, thank
And
you.
yeah, that's why I wanted to introduce you to everyone that I know, all of our clients. That way, if they're checking out your area, they can give you a call. And I know you've got your phone number there. Of course, we'll list it on our post as well.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. And I already have, like, I would say I have maybe a handful of families that are contemplating your area that I told them I would send this interview to them so that they
Oh,
can meet
great.
you. Yeah, get an
Yeah.
intro about your area. But thank you so much for your help. And then, anytime, if anyone that's watching, if you guys have questions for Yolanda, call her anytime. I know she's so willing to, just show you around and
Yeah, actually, yeah, I love that. I love when people come with an open mind, and I think that one of my favorite things to tell people, let's see it anyway, because if it's a no, then when you see the yes, you'll say, I've already seen a lot of what's out there, and I know that that's the one. And we won't know that unless we've visited several spots. So I like to set up a couple of hours, and if we need to do it in 2 weekends, but we can take all the way from Lincoln to explore that area to El Dorado Hills, and there's some in between spots too. There
yeah,
are some communities in Roseville, there are others in Folsom, and there are also single-story homes in communities that are not 55 plus. So if that's what you're after, there's some great inventory and wonderful spots that have access to the trails and state parks where you won't even have to get in your car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, Yolanda. I so appreciate your help, And of course, anyone that's watching, if you guys have questions about the East Bay, let me know. If you have questions about, the El Dorado Hills, that part of the California, reach out to Yolanda. But thanks so much, Yolanda. Take care.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Care.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Stay well, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.